Council to order for Monday, August 15th, 2022. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
Here.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Here.
Councilman Gillette?
Here.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Here.
Councilman Susi?
Here.
Councilman Ward?
Here.
President Gendron.
Here, please stand for the prayer and the pledge.
God our Father, we ask that you send your blessing upon this city and upon this council. Guide us in our efforts, increase our motivation, and strengthen our resolve to build a better community and ensure a brighter future for the city of Woonsocket. This we ask in your name. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving right into the public hearing, Madam Clerk.
22R108, public hearing to ratify the tentative agreement between Rhode Island Council 94, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, Local 670, and the City of Woonsocket.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor or against this item? If you could please approach the podium.
Jeffrey Belknap, I'm sorry about that, 1029 Cass Avenue, Woonsocket.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Baldelli Hunt, members of the City Council, various directors that are here. I come to you in support of 22R108, which is to have the councils vote on and approve tentative agreement that's been reached between Local 670 and the city on a one-year wage reopener. How we got here was in the current contract, in July 1st of this year, we entered the third and final year of our contract with the city. When this contract was signed, the third year was left with a 0% raise with language for a wage reopener. Last several months, we've been meeting with the administration, and I'll say 2 weeks ago, we came to a tentative agreement with the administration. Last week, we brought it to our membership, explained all the changes. It was voted on, and it was approved. So the union stands ready to accept this proposal. Like I say, this is a one-year contract. The main contract, 50 pages long. We're only looking at 4 pages of negotiated changes, and not even full pages of those 4 pages, just particular items on those 4 pages. The 2 main things that, upon passage by the council, that will be of the greatest benefit will mutually, obviously the members will receive a, not going to get into the particulars, but we'll see some sort of raise for fiscal year 2023. And this also will, is definitely a step in the right direction for an issue that's been brought up. I watch council meetings on a regular basis, but it is a definite move in the right direction for an issue that has been, I've heard different councilors over the months, specifically Councilman Gillette, Councilman Susi, what can be done to stop either the exodus or how do we retain personnel as far as we're just talking about our membership and where we work in different divisions. This tentative agreement is a definite step in the right direction as far as keeping the skilled people that we have in all our divisions, not just public works, at our library, here at City Hall, and our civilian dispatchers that work hand in hand with the public safety officials, and of course our water department. So I think it's a win-win. It's a one year. It would be added to the existing 3 years, 3-year contract that's already in place. If you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer anything that I can answer. seeing that this isn't yet signed off on and not yet public
So-
knowledge.
You will be staying for passage?
Yes.
So if the council has any questions, I would just ask that we can hold those. Mr. Belknap had said that he would stick around and be available if we have any questions at that point.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right? Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against this resolution?
Council President?
Mayor?
Yeah, I would just ask, considering it's the second to the last item on the docket, if the council can move it up.
We will.
Thank you.
Philip Lebrecht, 391 Duluth Avenue. I am aware of none of the details of this contract, but I am aware of the good people that work in this city and the good job that they do and how that represents the city in a great light. And they make a difference in this city. And if the contract within reason, I support it 100%. I'm a taxpayer, but these people are vital to the city. And I thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against this resolution? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion to close the public hearing. Motion made by Councilman Canoyer,
Second.
seconded by Councilwoman Sierra and Councilwoman Gonzalez to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and the public hearing is closed 7-0. Agenda for Board of License Commissioners.
22 LC 29, application of licenses and renewal of licenses.
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept the following licenses. New licenses for Class F liquor, no entertainment, Class F liquor with entertainment, massage therapy, street vendor, also renewals for private detective agency and quarterly entertainment.
Motion made by Councilman Gillette,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22 LC 29 is approved 7-0. Moving on to public comment. I would ask if there is anyone here that would like to address the city council, that you please approach the podium, adjust the microphone so that we can hear you. State your name and address for the record. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes and obviously in good taste. And is there anyone here?
Monique Woods, 218 Pond Street in Woonsocket. I'm here in regards to the flashes on Social Street at the crosswalk coming out of Social Park, crossing the one in front of Social Park is not flashing, but the other one across where the carillon is, the clock, that one works. And people just won't stop in the crosswalk. So I was wondering if there's a way to fix this, because I've called City Hall. I was told that this department, that department, and it seems like, and I've
Well-
spoken to quite a few people.
Director Gillette, he just gave me a thumbs up. I think that's an indication that he'll get on it.
Yeah, I have spoken to her about this, so.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
okay.
I can respond.
Thank you very much.
So Director Gillette is in charge of that division, so thank you.
Yeah, because I had spoke to him at the park when they had the night out.
Very good. Thank you, Director.
Because I was, just wondering about it, because I don't want nobody to get hurt,
No,
or even myself.
no, we're gonna make sure that you're safe.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there
Council
anyone
President?
else? Mayor?
The solar panel on that section has been damaged, so we're trying to get a replacement part for that. And in addition to that, we are also looking to order another set of flashing lights for the crosswalk in front of City Hall, in particular with, unfortunately, you can't get them as quickly as you'd like and get them installed as quickly as you'd like, but we're working on that because we're going to have potentially an influx of people coming into City Hall with early voting. So we're looking to put a set out there as well.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to address the city council?
My name is Charles Lemoyne. I live at 174 St. Barnaby Street, Woonsocket. I want to thank whoever put the shades up and the person that ordered them. But I want to know, are they rentals or are they're the city's?
I'm sure the city owns them.
Okay, I just wondered. I figured I'd put a little comment in it. Okay, I guess that'll be about it. Oh, when's our tax bills coming out?
We will get, I have it on the agenda for that discussion, so we'll find out a little bit later in the meeting.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for all your time.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the city council? Hearing none, moving on to the consent agenda.
Council President,
Councilman Canoyer.
I'd like to make a motion to move out of order 3 items, starting with 22R108, which is in connection with the ratification of the 670 contract, and then 22P38, a request of Attorney Garabedian to address the City Council on 0 Cato Street, and lastly, 22M07, communication from the mayor submitting a veto message on Ordinance 22040 in connection with the police contract.
We have a motion to take out of order. Motion made by Councilman Canoyer, seconded by Councilman Ward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, we'll begin with 22R108,
Council President, can you take one other item out of order?
which is?
22, or hear it, and not just in a motion and a vote. 22 CS 32, someone is here tonight to speak on that. Oh,
All right, well, what we'll do is, when we do the consent agenda, we'll pull that out to be discussed.
22R108, to ratify the tentative agreement between Rhode Island Council 94, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, Local Number 670, and the City of Woonsocket.
Motion to pass.
Motion made by Councilman Gillette, seconded by Councilman Ward and Councilwoman Gonzalez. Comments? Hearing none, let's do a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22R108 is approved 7-0. Moving on, Madam Clerk, to 22P28.
Request of Attorney Jeffrey Garabedian to address the City Council regarding 0 Cato Street.
Good evening, all members of the board, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the motion. I appreciate the consideration. I am here tonight with a request, the first time that I've had this particular request, but my clients are here to my right. I'm here on behalf of JG Remodeling. So I know I had submitted a package. A brief summary of what brings us here tonight is my clients purchased a vacant lot on Cato Street with the intent of reconstructing on the lot, putting up a new building, a new house, and moving on from there. During the course of the initial investigation and survey of the lot, it was discovered that there may or may not have been some cemetery plots there, or basically some type of what was in the past a historical cemetery. It had been overgrown. It wasn't easily identifiable at this point. So as a matter of caution at that point, and I think in conjunction at that point with the building inspector, we contacted the Historical Preservation and Heritage Commission, which oversees the regulation and the imposition of historical cemeteries. So once they became involved, at that point, it was determined that we need to hire an archaeologist. So there was an investigation done by archaeological investigation. They came in, surveyed the whole lot, and made the determination that there were in fact 3 separate plots on the property, 2 together, 1 a bit away from it. They surveyed the rest of the land. There was nothing else there. So that was all that was on the property. So once that happened, pursuant to the statutes, our obligations were, one, to do that, to notify the city at that point that there was this issue, undertake the survey and the investigation, which we did, and then submit it back to the commission, the Heritage Commission, to determine if it was possible at that point to go forward with construction, to do any type of construction based upon that. And so the reason it brings us here is that since we've done all that, we've done the survey, we haven't contracted, we've been in contact with the commission, we've worked with them. They have submitted their recommendation, and I've spoken to Mr. Emity, the director, several times to negotiate and to see what was necessary. So their position is, and what I believe the statutes say generally, is that provided that the commission is in agreement, and provided, of course, that the city is in agreement, then the construction can go forward, provided that whatever recommendations are set forth by the commission and, of course, by the city with regard to the building inspectors and whatever else is there, then the construction could go forward. So the statute seems to be very clear that the request has to come before the city council. So I think basically what we're doing here is requesting that they be allowed to apply for and receive a building a permit to start the construction, consistent with any of the provisions and requirements set forth by the Heritage Commission with regard to the cemetery, and of course whatever else the town requires. We've submitted the building plans, which were modified several times to comply with what the commission wanted, and then basically that involved moving a parking area a little bit behind instead of closer to the area where the burial plots are. The alternative, of course, to all this would have been to undertake the expense in the process of moving the burial, moving the tombs, or the graves. The commission came to the conclusion that that was not really necessary nor cost effective or appropriate. So what they've recommended is that we, and before I get to that, they've already secured the sites themselves. So they backfill, they put granite, they protected them, so that now they are protected. There will be a little bit more that needs to be done, and their recommendations are, and as I drive through the city, I see how they're set up. There'll be a railing around them, there'll be an entrance, there'll be a gate. It's not a large area that we're talking about, but it'd be something that would be certainly set off and memorialized. The commission would put up a sign saying it's a historical cemetery, and then we go from there. My clients are here. They have purchased 3 separate lots in the city over the past several years, all of the same type of an area. They've built beautiful houses on all these properties. And I prepared, I don't know if the council wants it, but I've got a package with what they've done, the three that are here in the city, as to what they look like from the outside and the inside. But they do beautiful work, and I think we're here to get permission to do that, because it's our contention that at this point it's a vacant lot on Cato Street. It's been vacant, to my understanding, for decades. There was a house there formerly. There's foundations there. There's other things that will be obviously removed. I think as long as there's compliance, obviously, with the commission and the city with regard to the building rules, it's going to be a beautification of the area. It's certainly something I think that would benefit the town. And I think it's something that, while the statute says we have to come here to request it, we're trying to cover all the bases. They've done all the footwork up to this point, and now they have the property that they purchased in August of 2021. So that's when we started the process. So we've been a year up to this point to get to the point where we could come before the council to recommend that they be able to go forward with the building. So that's what we're here for. I think I've submitted everything package-wise. If there's more information that you would like, I could certainly provide it. I can provide the pictures of their other construction. And, of course, they're here to answer any questions that might be. So we're here before the council seeking permission to request that building permit to start the process.
So Director DeBryce, is, from what the testimony or the explanation that you just heard, does everything seem to be,
Thank you, Mayor.
as you understand, up to, or in order, based on what recommendations you've gotten from the other organizations and whatnot.
So, Council, I've been able to handle the site both in my previous engineering capacity and now as director down in planning. While we haven't officially stamped the plans as being approved and released anything, we have gone back and forth with the builders. They have done 3 excellent projects in the city. If there was an issue on any projects, they immediately rectified it. So I'm glad that if we're working with the builder if the council grants it tonight to them to move forward, then it's a builder that will do a good job. And I like their fence that they're proposing to put around, access for the public to get to the 3 graves that are there. But what the attorney for the builder said is all accurate.
Okay. Solicitor, would this require just a resolution or an ordinance or
Just a resolution,
just a resolution?
which we can't do tonight, but
No, but
yeah, this has been going on for a long time. I think after they cleared it up, the former building inspector noticed that it was, the proposed house was within the 25-foot mark, but I assume you moved it now. So that obstacle no longer exists. So,
okay.
if we
But it's
put
just a resolution that can be prepared for the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Councilman Canoia.
No, I was just going to say, unfortunately, we can't act on it tonight because it's not formally before us. So we'd need a formal resolution to come on the docket for the next meeting. And, hopefully it includes whatever it is we have from the State Commission, and it kind of syncs up with whatever we have, or whatever we're proposing, so that everything is in agreement. And I'm sure, well, I'd be very supportive of what you suggested. But unfortunately, it can't be done tonight because there's nothing before us to vote on.
And I can work with you on the resolution. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much. And I would suggest that you get in touch with the solicitor and Director DeBrois and see if we can put everything together. I'm sure that you're in good hands. They'll be able to work out a resolution.
Certainly.
All
Thank you.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. 22M07, a communication from mayor submitting veto message on ordinance 22040 pursuant to Chapter 4, Section 9 of the Woonsocket Home Rule Charter.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Motion to accept for discussion?
Motion made by Councilman Canoia,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Gillette, to receive 22M07 for discussion purposes. Comments?
Council President, I've got a number of comments. So this is a message of disapproval from the mayor in connection with the police union contract. So I'm just going to go through as a 2+ page letter. So Mayor, in your message of disapproval, you stated that you're taking this action to veto ordinance 22040 in order to, 1, fulfill the lawful duties of the executive branch of government for purposes of negotiating and finalizing a collective bargaining agreement between the city and the union, and 2, to curtail the unlawful, bold usurping by the Woonsocket City Council of the mayoral responsibility of negotiating the NEPBA collective bargaining agreement, proposing terms of the agreement, and developing contract language. Further, you state, quote, according to the charter, it's the mayor's responsibility, not the city council, as the city's chief executive officer, to negotiate and finalize collective bargaining agreements. So with that in mind, would you mind just pointing to the specific provision of the city charter that prescribes the mayor's responsibility to, quote, negotiate and finalize collective bargaining agreements? As you explicitly stated, quote, according to the city charter, it's your responsibility. So where does it say that in the charter?
I'm just going to make one comment because I'm not sure what direction this is going in, and you can check with the city solicitor on that because the solicitor's office also represents me.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of a conflict here this evening. But it's very clear that the council is not to interfere with any department within city government.
So I'm just asking, where you said it's, according to the city charter, it's the mayor's responsibility, not the council's, to negotiate and finalize. I'm just asking you, where does that say that in the charter?
You have that document before you, and if you have any of those questions, you can talk to the solicitor.
Well, it's
because
your
the
letter.
solicitor. No,
it's your letter.
No,
Wait, that's fine.
I was represented by the solicitor's office, so he can answer that.
No, it's your letter you signed. All right.
Oh, so it's very clear, the council cannot interfere
I got
with
it.
the departments,
Said
and
that.
you interfered. You took total control for the entire council to negotiate a contract, bring it before them, and then pass another ordinance to allow someone other than the mayor to sign a contract. So if there was any holdup in negotiating of the
No, no, no.
contract, you need
Mayor,
to talk to the
please.
solicitor.
Point of order. I just asked a simple
Mayor.
question. I'm not
I
asking
told
for
you
her to
there's no
repeat this.
interference. That's my answer. The council is not to interfere with any department within city government.
Okay. So, contrary to your false assertion in the letter that you signed, the charter does not prescribe anywhere that it's the mayor's responsibility to negotiate collective bargaining agreements. The charter does, however, require you to, quote, see that all terms and conditions in any contract are faithfully kept and performed. Not negotiate them, but to administer them once they're negotiated. And I would remind you, Chapter 1, Section 5, exercise of powers. All powers of the city shall be exercised in the manner prescribed by this charter, or, if not so prescribed, then in the manner as such shall be provided by ordinance or resolution of the council. And I just ask you, where is it prescribed that the mayor is in charge of negotiating contracts, as you stated? You can't answer it. It's not prescribed. So therefore, anything that's not prescribed can be done via ordinance or resolution of the city council. Okay. And then if I look at mayoral duties of the city charter, again, it's very clear. Duties enumerated. It shall be the duty of the mayor to see that the laws and ordinances are enforced, to see that all terms and conditions imposed in favor of the city in any contract or franchise are faithfully kept and performed. Okay? It speaks of contracts, but it says that your job is to administer contracts, not necessarily to negotiate them. Number 3, to keep the council informed at all times concerning the financial condition and needs of the city and other pertinent matters relating to the administration. Next, to recommend to the council such measures as may be considered necessary or expedient. E, to prepare and recommend to the council an annual budget. F, to prepare and present to the council a comprehensive annual report of the financial transactions and other activities of the city for the close of the year. To make any other study or investigation which in the opinion may be for the best interest of the city, for which may be ordered by the city council by resolution, to review rules and regulations of the several administrative offices and departments, and only upon his approval shall they become effective. And lastly, most importantly, to perform such other duties as may be required of him by ordinance or resolution of the council. So I'll just repeat a few things here. To keep the council informed, to recommend to the council measures they think are expedient, to recommend to the council a budget, to present to the council a comprehensive annual report, to make other studies which may be ordered by the council, and most importantly, to perform such other duties as may be required of him or her by the ordinance or resolution of the council. All right, let's go on to the next item. You state the city, quote, the city council's responsibility pursuant to the charter is limited to the ratification of collective bargaining agreements. This administration cannot stand idly by while the city council unlawfully attempts a power grab in an attempt to do something which the city charter prohibits them from doing. So again, where does it state anywhere in the city council, in the city charter, that the council is limited or more importantly, prohibited from doing what they're doing? No answer, okay. So again, contrary to your false assertions, nowhere in the city charter is the city council limited or prohibited from these actions. Next, you said, according to the city charter, the city council's authority is limited to enacting ordinances for the preservation of the public peace, health, safety, comfort, and welfare of the inhabitants of the city. close quote. You put a period after the word city, but actually, if you read the full sentence, you left out, and for the protection of persons and property. And I would just remind you that, again, I'll read it again. According to the city charter, the city council's authority is limited to enacting ordinances for the preservation of public peace, public health, public safety, public comfort and welfare, the inhabitants of the city, and residents, inhabitants of the city, as well as for the protection of persons and property. Sounds like public safety to me. You go on to state, the city charter explicitly requires the city council to enact ordinances for 8 specifically enumerated purposes. See Charter, Chapter 3, Section 3. The city council is the city's legislative body. It lacks authority over administrative matters, such as the negotiation of collective bargaining agreements. And I know it's getting a little repetitive, but that's what you wrote. In Section 3, as you noted, it says, an ordinance shall be required for every act of the council, the purpose of which is, A, to levy any tax which lawfully may be levied, B, to make an appropriation, C, to authorize the borrowing of money, D, to grant a privilege of franchise, E, to sell or lease real property of the city, F, to reorganize any offices, G, to fix compensation. Just keep that one in mind when we get to another issue later in the program. And H, to establish a fine or penalty. And frankly, you've misinterpreted what the charter says. This is just, what this says is at a minimum, if you do these actions, at a minimum, this requires an ordinance. There's other actions you can do via ordinance, but at a minimum, if you do these, you have to do an ordinance. For example, we pass ordinances on a regular basis, signed by you and submitted by you, for stop signs, or to prohibit parking on Wood Ave or Burnside Ave. I don't see anything on here in this enumerated list that you refer to that says an ordinance is required for a stop sign. So, now I want to get to the more egregious and frankly dishonest parts of your veto message. You wrote the following: the City Council has acted in a vacuum by unilaterally negotiating with any PBA and has excluded input from the executive branch relating to the terms and conditions of the agreement related to fiscal and non-fiscal issues. Next, you said the City Council's adoption of the ordinance is a transparent attempt to undermine the administration's role in negotiating and finalizing an agreement by excluding the mayor's input and participation in the negotiation and finalization of the agreement. Next, you said such action by the council is a transparent attempt to do an end around the administration's ability to negotiate and finalize the terms of the collective bargaining agreement. And you said the City Council proposed terms and conditions to the MPBA, which they conveyed to the union on a take-it-or-leave-it basis. Quote, take-it-or-leave-it basis. And lastly, you said, I cannot be part of a conspiracy that attempts to usurp executive administrative functions in such an egregious way. Mayor, I discussed this at the last meeting, and frankly, you can have a disagreement with the council, but I'm not going to sit here and listen to and accept and not respond to the rank dishonesty. Your assertion that the City Council acted in a vacuum, excluded input from the executive branch, has excluded the mayor's input and participation in the negotiation, acted in a transparent attempt to do an end run around the administration, that the council conveyed a take-it-or-leave-it set of terms to the union, and most importantly, participated in a conspiracy, are frankly all bold-faced lies. So let's start with the assertion of a conspiracy. The definition of a conspiracy is a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. There was nothing secret about the council's actions, and you know that. The City Council had numerous meetings with the administration to discuss the police contract. There was no end around. We met on April 11th, special meeting, 7 o'clock. Discussion regarding Woonsocket Police Union contract, NEPBA Local 808. So that's April 11th. April 28th, discussion, special meeting. Discussion, status of police contract negotiations, Local 808. Again, May 16th, special meeting. Discussion and/or vote on police contract, May 16th. May 31st, special meeting. discussion and/or vote on police contract, Local 808. June 7th, discussion and/or vote on police contract, Local 808. Okay? These are 5 just in the last month leading up to this. As well, on August 31st, I sent you and everybody else on the council an email, this is over a year ago, at 7:47 in the morning. Good morning, Mayor. And this was regarding the police contract in response to an email that you sent us with the contract. I said, good morning, Mayor. I have some things to share, but they should be covered in a work session so we can all be on the same page, as well as hear from the administration regarding what changes, issues they, the administration, would like to see. Okay? So don't insult our intelligence and say that we acted in a vacuum, that we did an end run around the administration, that we excluded input from the executive branch, that we participated in a secret plan to do something unlawful. The fact of the matter is the current contract expired over 2 years ago on June 30th, 2020. You've had more than ample time to negotiate a new contract, and frankly, nobody's interested in all the excuses, including that they changed unions, etc. And contrary to your false assertions, the council bent over backwards, meeting after meeting after meeting, to work with the administration. We had numerous meetings in the administration, with the administration, and not once, despite us asking over and over again, did the administration provide any proposed language, despite you saying in your veto message that it's the mayoral responsibility for proposing terms of the agreement and developing contract language. We asked for that over and again. After numerous meetings wherein you failed to bring anyone from the finance department to review financial proposals, where you failed to present any formal language changes, where you repeatedly showed up without even a single document or a piece of paper to share with the council, we, the council, finally put something forward which absolutely took into account and consideration feedback from the administration based on all these meetings we had and other discussions, such as having no retro payments for the fiscal years 21-22, so as to not to tax your finance department. We reviewed and discussed a council proposal on May 31st at length and agreed that the solicitors should send it over to the union for their consideration. The very next morning at 10:09 a.m. on June 1st, I sent you an email to you, the solicitor, the council president, and the council vice president, the draft that was discussed the night before, so you had it electronically. And the idea was to send that over to the union. So it's an absolute lie, an absolute dishonest lie to say that the council acted in a vacuum, excluded input from the executive branch, excluded the mayor's input or participation, and participated in a conspiracy. It's nonsense. And then as it turned out, the union had sent over a, quote, best and final offer on the morning of June 1st at 7:33 a.m. to the solicitor. The union sent over a best and final offer. So we therefore had another meeting, okay, on June 7th to discuss their offer, and we unanimously decided to provide the union with a counteroffer, which was provided to them on June 8th. The offer we provided the union took into account what they had provided, as well as what you and the administration had talked about. So again, spare us the typical election year dishonest rhetoric we've all come to expect from you, frankly. The city council did not act and did not send a take it or leave it offer to the union. We sent them a proposal in response to their, quote, best and final offer. In summary, contrary to your false assertions, the city charter does not prohibit or limit the city council in any way with respect to the actions taken by the council in relation to settling the police contract. More importantly, and again in contrast to the blatant false assertions, the city council did not act in a vacuum, did not give a take it or leave it offer, did not exclude input from the executive branch. Rather, our efforts and actions are absolutely in compliance with the charter, and these actions are the result of numerous open and transparent meetings and discussions with you, Mayor, and your administration, albeit very limited because you never brought anybody from finance, that absolutely took into account input from the executive branch, the least of which was the fact that the executive branch was getting nowhere after 2+ years. So for these reasons and more, I will not support the mayor's veto. But before I go on, I am going to ask the solicitor, Mr. Solicitor, you got a law degree?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you're licensed to practice law in the state?
Solicitor, can you use the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'll ask you
Yes
that
to
again.
both questions.
So yes, you have a law degree, and yes, you're licensed to practice law in the state?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the city charter?
Yes.
Of Woonsocket? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what the city council is doing illegal and unlawful?
No.
If somebody from Woonsocket High School came in here, just graduated with their high school degree and told you that it's unlawful, would you agree with them?
I don't know where that's coming from, but no.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 22040, notwithstanding the mayor's
Council President?
disapproval as communicated via the mayor's message of disapproval dated August 4th, 2022, with a yes vote, meaning we override the veto.
Council President?
Motion made by Councilman
Council President?
Canoyer, seconded by Councilman Ward.
Council President,
Comments?
I'd like to respond to Councilman.
Yeah,
Noyer.
I just needed to get a motion and a second
Okay.
before we can have further discussion.
Sure.
So we have a motion and a second. Mayor?
Solicitor, do you have anything to say?
In terms of,
Of what you just heard, and in terms of the negotiations, and in terms of the delay in the contract? Do you have anything to add to this?
well, what I would add is that it was a legal act by the council, which I've already
No,
advised you
no,
of
no, I'm
that.
talking about negotiations for
Oh,
the
the
police
negotiations.
contract, yes.
What about the
Yeah,
negotiations?
do you have anything to share with them regarding the negotiations?
No, I mean, I think that we met with them 4 or 5 times. They knew everything that was going on as well as you did. What else would I share with them?
So let me share with you, okay? I'll share with you some things that maybe were not shared with you before. So let me share with you the fact that Local 3851 did not come to terms until I called a meeting in my office. Local 670 did not come to
But-
terms until I
okay.
called a meeting in my office.
One minute, Mayor, hold on.
Yes?
Right now, we're on your veto message.
Okay.
Which
This
has nothing
veto
to do
message-
with, but it has nothing to do with 3851
Okay.
or 670. So just
Okay.
stay to the message.
This message.
Yep.
And this contract, and I'm responding to the things that Councilman Canoyer said, okay?
No, but just relate them to this contract.
And his comments, which
Yeah,
are
but-
relating to this contract.
Okay, but
Okay.
he didn't say anything about 3851
No,
or?
I
okay.
did. You're right.
Okay.
I did.
Thank you.
These negotiations, other than the fact that the police changed union representation, which was a slight delay in negotiations, there's no question about it, you're changing representation. The delay in negotiating and the delays in meetings and the gaps in meetings and the postponements of meetings was all due to the city solicitor. It was not due to the police union, okay? I have not expressed this before, but if I'm going to sit here and listen to Councilman Canoyer talk about how we did nothing, the public safety director, the police chief, the union, and then when I came into negotiations, because they negotiate first, there were no delays on our parts. The delays all came from the city solicitor's office, and those are factual.
That's absolutely.
That is not, that is
Council
factual,
President?
John. I have emails.
We're not
from
talking
you-
about delays, we're talking about a veto.
No,
Nobody said there was
no.
a delay.
You talked about dishonesty
No,
and
what
about
I said
acting in a
is,
vacuum.
you said that we didn't take into account the work you did. I never said you didn't do work. I said we did, it's a false statement to suggest that we did an end-around, worked in a vacuum, and did not take into consideration the work that you just said you did.
And
you
you
never
had-
said anything about a delay.
Did or
Nothing
did you
about
not,
a delay.
Did or did you not have conversation with union members of the police department?
I talked to 4 of them yesterday.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking before you put together a
Game with you,
proposal.
Lisa. Mayor, I'm not
Yes,
playing the
of
game.
course you did. Yes, you did.
Okay.
And in addition to that, you did send them a take it or leave it. You sent it, I was in the meeting, you told the solicitor, send this document to them and tell them they have until this particular time to respond,
There's no take it or leave it in there.
okay? You said it in the meeting, Councilman
You weren't there,
Canoyer.
you said.
What are you talking about?
said you weren't
You
at the
came
meeting.
with your yellow spreadsheet and gave it to all the counselors and said, this is what we're offering, and this is what we're going to give to them. And you, solicitor, you email them, and you tell them that they have until a certain time. And did you take into consideration the language changes that the police chief and the public safety director asked for?
I did. You know what? I did. It's absolutely in the email. You know where it is? Nowhere, because you and your
No, not because
administration
of
never
me.
gave this
No.
this council
So first of all,
one word of language
I am
changes.
responding to you, okay? You can smile all you want, Councilman Canoia, but you know what? This city needs legal representation, and the legal representation comes right from there. And if you have any gripe with how those contracts went, then you're looking at the solicitor who's sitting right in front of you.
You know what, I about to had this with you.
Yeah, I've had it with you, too.
This is totally.
Why don't you show up to work? You're a full-time solicitor, and you come here for 2 hours a day.
I work
Okay.
like 80 hours
Okay.
a week on this job. It's
Excuse me?
very
Mayor.
unprofessional for you to speak
That's
that way.
exactly what it is. And people are sick and tired of it, including directors and including chiefs.
Okay.
So if you want to hear the facts, give me a call.
How about we bring it back to your veto
Council President,
message?
I move the question. Make a motion to move the question.
Motion to move the question by Councilman Canoyer, seconded by Councilman Ward. To move the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you could do a roll call on the veto override, again, to reinforce the fact that a vote of yes is to override the mayor's veto. A vote of no is to sustain the mayor's veto. Is that correct, Solicitor?
Yes.
I said it, okay. Roll
Council
call, Madam
President,
Clerk.
can
We
I
had a
just
motion
ask
to
a
move the
question?
question.
She has a question.
I have,
We have a motion to move the question. After we move the question, if it doesn't pass, we can have a further discussion, but there was,
Voted on to move the question.
yes. So, Madam Clerk,
it's a technical question.
is it regarding the vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so if it's vetoed, the contract does not go through, and we go back to negotiations, or
We don't know.
move forward? If it's not vetoed. does-
No, it is vetoed. The
Yeah,
mayor vetoed
yeah,
it.
But if the veto passes, like if
Sustained.
if it's sustained, then the contract does not go through.
Correct.
Councilman Canoia?
Council,
Yes.
Council President, a point of order or information or both, please. This ordinance has nothing to do with our ratification vote. It has to do with who's authorized to sign. So,
That's correct.
Mr. Solicitor,
That's correct.
An agreement has been reached and terms have been agreed to by the collective bargaining unit and this council in ratification. This is simply about who is authorized to sign the
Right.
contract.
It's already
on
been
behalf of the
ratified by
city.
the council.
So this has no bearing on the contract settlement itself. It's simply a signatory opportunity for two parties rather than the normal one. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay, thank you. So this doesn't negate the contract settlement.
It does, though.
It does?
Well, it would, because the mayor has said already that she will
The
not sign.
mayor hasn't signed the
No, but if
contract.
the ordinance were, if the veto, oh, yeah, if she refuses to, well, I'm not even sure. If she refuses to sign it, Mr. Solicitor, what happens to the contract that we have ratified?
Well, it needs to be executed by the parties, so you need to have someone sign the contract.
Okay, my point.
Roll
is
call,
that-
Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
So is it, or is it, I'm sorry, I'm like getting.
Yes is going to override the mayor's veto. No would be to sustain the mayor's veto.
But the contract, is it the contract at stake?
Yeah.
The question. Okay, so then yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes. And the mayor's veto message 22M07 is overridden unanimously on a 7-0 vote. Moving back to the regular course of business, I would ask when whoever makes a motion for the consent agenda that we take out of 22 CS 32, Mayor?
22 CS 32.
If you could make a motion, whoever makes the motion to receive the consent agenda if we could do it with the exception of 22 CS 32.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as listed with the exception of 22 CS 32 and 22 CS 33.
Thank you. We have a motion made by Councilman Canoyer,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Ward.
Oh, wait a minute, do we do motions on removal from a consent agenda?
I'm sorry?
Do we do motions on removing items from the consent agenda, or we just not do them and?
Well, we're going to receive the
Oh,
consent
okay, that's
agenda with the
consent
exception of
agenda
those
except
two.
for- Okay, thank you. Second.
On the motion to receive the consent agenda, are there any other items to be taken up separately? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And the consent agenda is received 7-0 with the exception of 22 CS 32 and 22 CS 33. On 22 CS 32, could we have a motion?
So move to accept it.
Motion made by Councilman
Second.
Canoyer, seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments? Mayor?
Hi, everyone. Scott Hustler, 518 Gasco Street in Woonsocket. I just wanted to add a few facts to this before you guys move forward. The gentleman approached me at Boulay Field in Woonsocket, and the first statement that he had was that we have to build a dome to keep everyone safe, which
Okay, wait a minute. I want to make sure we're
Yeah,
on.
sorry, am I making sure we're on the right? I didn't realize it was the number, but this was the, help me, Mayor, please. This was about,
Well, John, why don't you explain? You have it.
It's a claim. Someone got hit in the head while they were walking.
yeah, I'm
and
sorry,
I-
Mr.
I'm
Jenkins.
sorry.
I didn't want to go into too much detail, but there's a gentleman who got hit in the head walking between the Elks Club parking lot and the
Okay.
St. Germain walkway,
Yes.
and it happened about a year and a half ago. And I just wanted to bring some facts to the table before it got to you guys. And it
So are
became-
you named in this or anything, or?
I am not. I am not. I don't think my name is officially in the document. I didn't read the whole entire thing. I got it sent to me late this afternoon when I read it when the issues came out.
Is there a reason why you're testifying today?
No, I just wanted to bring a couple of facts to the table. I spoke with a few people, and I just wanted to make sure. I know there was a lawsuit against the city, and I just wanted to bring some facts to the table. And if that's not the case, then I
Yeah,
won't.
no, I think his information is important for you to hear what he has to say.
So, Council President,
Councilman Canoyer?
I would love to hear what he has to say, but I don't know that this is the venue, and what I would suggest is we table this item, C-32, and have you present, or provide the facts to the
In a
solicitor.
closed, yeah.
Just in a communication, so we can include whatever additional facts you deem to
That's
be
something that
attached.
you want to add, but we're referring it to the trust anyway, but.
Yeah.
Listen, I was just trying
And
to
it's
get
good to get the information,
I was just
whatever.
trying to
if
get-
you-
Information you have, be glad to put it in the packet.
Okay.
But I don't think this is the right forum for it. It should be put in here, and we'll take it up.
And especially, I'm uncomfortable that you don't even appear to be named in any way, so I think it's better if you can communicate with the solicitor.
Fair.
Solicitor, can you give him your contact information?
Yeah,
And-
I'm sure I can get it through.
Okay.
Let's have him, well,
Make a motion to table.
it's a communication, so there's nothing to really, we can still receive it
Okay.
and,
Resubmit it.
and have it resubmitted, or what do you, should we table it?
Table it, we'll resubmit it at the next meeting.
I mean, we can table a
It's just a
communication.
presentment of a
Okay,
claim.
then we have a motion by Councilman Canoyer to table
Second.
22 CS 32, seconded by Councilman Ward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22 CS 32 is
That would be
tabled.
31, no?
32.
32.
Perfect. Thank you.
32.
Was 32,
Okay,
right?
sorry.
And now, if we can have a motion for 22 CS 33.
Make a motion to accept 22.
Motion
CS.
made by Councilman Canoyer, seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Second.
and Councilman Ward. Comments?
Yeah, 22 CS 33 is the legal cases. Solicitor.
Yeah.
On the last page, which is page 69 of 310, there's an item here, Wayland Carenti Flanders, $40,000 outstanding purchase order. What is that?
I have no idea what that is.
Chris, Director, is there a purchase order for Wayland, Carenti, Flanders outstanding of $40,000, or did we spend some money with them? Simple yes or no, we're due.
I believe there is, yes.
And what is it for?
It's for legal
Can you
counsel.
pull the mic closer,
Oh, it's for
please?
legal counsel. So the solicitor, can you tell us what this legal counsel's about?
I have no idea what it is. It wasn't done under my authority. I have nothing to do with it.
Director?
If you can move the mic up, please.
I believe it's legal counsel.
Okay, so can you send us a copy of what that is tomorrow morning?
How did you take 40,000 out of my budget without my authorization?
It
At
was a
whose
purchase
instruction?
order. I didn't enter the purchase order.
Okay.
Who
But the
did?
solicitor
I mean,
didn't
I didn't
approve it?
sign any purchase order. So,
I can get you a copy.
Okay.
Who signed the purchase order?
It was entered through the requisition system.
Okay. So can you send that over tomorrow morning, Director? Thank you.
Council President?
Are you all set, Councilman?
Oh, I am.
Okay. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
I don't know if this is the proper moment, but I'm looking to see if we could move out of order 22R105 since we have a couple of people.
We're still on this, this communication. So on 22 CS 33, are there any other comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And 22S33 is received 7-0. Moving on now to the, where are the,
The minutes.
there we go. All right. Can we have a motion to, or an approval of the correction of the minutes of the meeting on May 25th, 2022? Comment, motion, please.
Motion approved.
What did I say? I'm all right.
Motion to approve is submitted.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ward, seconded by Councilman Canoyer. Changes or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And the minutes from the July 25th, 2022 meeting are approved 7-0 as presented. Moving on to presentations of petitions, memorials, and remonstrances. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can I make a motion to move out of order 22R105?
Motion made by
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Canoyer, to move out of order 22R105. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And Madam Clerk, 22R105 is before us. Sorry about that, Councilwoman.
Granting permission to use city property.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Canoyer, seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Comments?
Council President,
Councilman Ward.
Director
Yes.
Agostino, I sent you an email. You did. And it's not that I am opposed to having a car show in the city. We have them regularly, and they are well attended, and I would think this would be the same, except it caused me a bit of pause when I saw that this was for Cold Spring Park. And I went on my little Google Earth, and I thought, this calls for an expectation, and again, I'm not judging the car show. I hope that this happens. It says the car show about 100 to 150 cars with up to possibly 500 visitors, but they're not the visitors I'm concerned with. Where could you locate 100 or 150 cars for a show at Cold Spring Park?
I was down there today, actually, and, I'm down there frequently, actually, but, down towards the boat ramp, there's a grass area. There's many areas that are grass that cars could go on, as well as
So
the pavement.
you're comfortable that there's sufficient area for a show such as this and visitor parking and
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
room for
Plus, yeah,
everybody? Okay, I was only concerned because it's not one of
Yeah.
these wide open space things. You
Yeah.
got a baseball field, you got basketball courts, you got tennis courts, you got,
Yeah, I mean, well, you're correct in, with your concern, but I don't
so
see
near-
really.
basically from the fields towards the river
Yeah.
and behind the outfield, there's enough space
Yeah.
for this? Okay,
Yeah.
that was my question, I'm satisfied. As long as
That's
you're
the
comfortable with it, I'm comfortable
Public
with it.
safety reviewed it, they had no issue, and,
Well, I do have,
what's that?
I do have some issues.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, you should seek some counseling then.
So, those types of issues you can't help tonight. Apparently, I think parks should be parks and those types of events, but however, we had car shows that were unregulated up at Diamond Hill Road, which is a highly commercial area. We had a lot of complaints there. I'm a little concerned what type of vehicles that'll attract. With 167 cars, it's 160 cars.
Director, if this is one of those things that happens up at Diamond Hill Road, yeah, I'm not interested.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but it is a lot of cars and it is a residential area. I'm not sure what type of cars they are. We have spoken with Liz Carrigan and the superintendent, who is the superintendent of parks. The chief did have some concern with that, and we will regulate at least a two-person detail, police officers, and making an agreement that those cars are actively registered and have the inspection proper for any type of vehicle that goes on the road.
So you're both here for that application. If you want to approach the podium. And if you could state your name and address for the record for the clerk.
Yes, my name is Vicente Morales, 536 3rd Avenue. Just to start, the people that used to bring the shows to the Diamond Hill, those guys it's not from town. The guys doing it. So we are citizens of the citizens, and we're gonna be responsible of what we do. The guys that are always doing these car shows, like guys from the outside, and they call them all these cars to meet at this particular place, but they're not even local cars. So this event that we are doing is actually Joel, the one is running it. It's going to be from citizens of the city. We're going to invite other people, other car shows, other car clubs, and other car people that has car for shows, and we're going to be responsible of what we do inside the park. Rather than being from the outside and just bring cars and we don't care about what happened. We have he's got a group to watch over the park. There's been some set of rules set to the show for the participants, like no alcohol, no music, no this, no that. There's some set of rules that we're going to present to the participants beforehand, and then whoever breaks one of those rules is going to be taken out of the park. So.
And one of the concerns that the director pointed out is that all vehicles have to be registered and inspected.
Yeah, definitely. All the cars are, most of the cars that are coming to the show are driving, they come in driven by somebody, and they are definitely registered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you have any other concerns that while the applicant's here?
Yes, so we did speak, I think you spoke to Liz Carrigan?
Yeah, it's actually
Police detail?
Joel, yeah.
Two police officers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, my name is Joel Majero, 277 Good Avenue, Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
Thank you. And you spoke with Director Liz Carrigan?
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
yeah.
And you're going to be required to have two
Police.
detailed police officers.
That's even better. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
That's even better to control the area. Having policemen around, that's good.
But you know that it's your expense.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can pagar la policía.
Council-
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, we already know.
Yeah.
Council President,
Director, please.
I would just like to say that I've worked with Mr. Morales before on events and car shows. He's come to our car show and has been a good participant and brings people that are of a good level of enthusiasts.
Well, thank you for saying that, Director.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for the information, because my concern was about whether or not you had enough space.
Yeah,
And because the parks doesn't have a lot of open space in it. So the director's comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that.
Not like you're gonna ruin the grass.
And with that, any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R105 is approved, 7-0.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck. Moving back to the regular order of business, presentations of petitions, memorials, and remonstrances.
22P29, a request of Planning Director to address the City Council regarding update on the Woonsocket Comprehensive Plan Survey and ZAP 50.
Council members, I just wanted to quickly bring two little things to the council's attention. One, for the comp plan, that we're in phase 1 of trying to obtain all information from different city departments and city input. And what's on the big screen is a link to the website where we've got an ongoing survey. Quite frankly, we've had very little participation for a city that's got over 40,000 residents and trying to help us guide the direction that the city needs to go. We have less than 200 surveys completed to date, hoping to get a few more. And the website is on there, even though it is a little small. It's www.woonsocketplanning.com, not org, it's .com, and that will bring you right to it. I strongly encourage residents, business owners, tenants to take the survey. It is, I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's not something that you could do in 2 seconds. It's got a lot of great questions on there. I reviewed it before we released it. Unfortunately, it's not like one that after you've taken it, you can enter for a $5,000 drawing. All you can do is say that you've helped out the city of Woonsocket and guiding us to where we need to be. So I don't know if you have any questions on the comp plan before I go to the next thing that I just wanted to bring to light.
Yeah, I got a question.
Sir.
Councilman Canoia.
Mike, you said you're getting feedback from residents and departments. Is there anything you need from the law department? Are they holding you up? The law department, are they holding you up at all?
I'm just looking for help from the residents.
Okay.
And then the,
Council President,
yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
just a comment on that it is available. I know it's available in Spanish.
Yes, it
I don't know
is.
if it's available in other languages also.
It is in Spanish, and we've had some sent back to us. We have one of my employees has been very active in making sure that's out to the people that need that type of request to not have it in English, but it is in Spanish. Thank you, Councilwoman. And then the only other thing that I have is probably the largest cleanup effort that I've been doing cleanups for the city of Woonsocket in my previous role as solid waste coordinator since '07, and ZAP 50 is coming up on August 27th, and we've broken this down. We've been meeting now for months, and now we've been going into weekly meetings. We've got 6 locations in the city of Woonsocket that we're targeting. You can see we've actually put names to them: Team Wood Duck, American Eagle, eel, muskrat, pintail, snapping turtle, that's and pumpkin seed. And these are all wildlife that you can find along the Blackstone. So we're trying to educate residents and other people that will be helping us out in Woonsocket for this cleanup. So it is from 8 to 3, but we're asking anyone, even if it's for an hour or a half hour, it doesn't matter. We've got team leaders that we're going to have at each location. Councilwoman Gonzalez is Team Snapping Turtle.
That's right.
Yes, and we're encouraging those teams to have fun with it and try to educate the people as they come and volunteer. And then that Saturday is very busy in the city of Woonsocket, so I'm hoping that people find the time to come and do this. And you know, ZAP 50, I'll just quickly give you the background on that. The original ZAP was back 1972 when 10,000 volunteers cleaned up the Blackstone River. And now, while we've been doing a great job keeping the Blackstone clean in all these years, there is still sections of that need to be cleaned up, and we've been going around and seeing those areas that we need to target. And it doesn't just have to be the river, it's also the neighboring roadways that drain into the river. So now ZAP 50, they're hoping for 10,001 volunteers. So if we can get a few hundred in the city, that will definitely be in the right direction. We've had a great input from some businesses already, some local church organizations, a couple of the unions are stepping up, so I'd like to see a lot more than that. And if anyone's got questions on that, they can get in touch with Superintendent Elizabeth Kerrigan, who is taking care of the volunteer efforts on that. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has anything on that. If not, then we look forward to having a good cleanup.
Any comments or questions?
Council President, did you say it's 8 to 3?
8 to
The
3.
hours just
8 to
making sure
3,
people
but it's
know.
open for any time that anybody is available. It's just that we just ask you to register because it is, for safety, and we're working along the river. We're working with public safety to make sure that everybody who registers also checks out, so everybody's accounted for at the end of the day.
Start out with 10,001, end up with about 9,800.
Yeah, hey, it's worth it.
We'll see.
I think the important takeaway here, Mike, is that everyone should get involved because they're looking for 10,001. And if you are that one that stays home and we get stuck at 10,000, you will forever be the reason we didn't make our cut.
Well, hopefully see everybody there. I'll be there and ready to get dirty.
Very good. Thank you.
P30, request of Vice President Ward to address the following items. 1, 719 River Street demolition and the building remains.
Director, the brick building that's right on the street that's going to be left.
Yes, sir.
I see that they've started tearing down the loading docks. Is there structural part behind those loading docks, or does that turn into, or is some part of that going to be left there to actually have a building remaining?
Well, we know that after we take down the rest of the building that has to be demoed, that the brick structure is going to need a little bit of TLC with part of the building that was connected to it. I have a walkthrough tomorrow morning with the AA Reckon, who's doing the work for the city of Woonsocket, and our code enforcement person who's overseeing the project for us, and we'll have a better idea of where we stand with everything again come tomorrow morning.
So we'll be spending money on the building just to keep an old building for the future where we might tear it down?
That's been an agreement between the city and this project since the beginning, yes.
I'm still trying to figure out by looking at it what is so historically significant about it. Is there anything that's particular architecturally unique about this building?
That's something I cannot answer for you.
All right. My second item. As many of you know, it was recently published that the governor had issued a statewide drought advisory, and so I asked the Director of Public Works if he would care to please inform us of what our local status is with our reservoir and our water supply, because they're recommending limiting your water use, and I know this lack of rain is expected to continue for a few more weeks. So, Director, if you would be so kind as to advise the public about the status of our water supply.
Sure. Thanks for asking. We're concerned, as everyone else is, but in the city, we are currently not in a drought situation. We are currently not even in a watch situation here. As you know, Woonsocket is blessed with a substantial amount of water, and according to a study that was conducted in, excuse me, I got something, chewing on something, but in 2002 by the Army Corps of Engineers, I guess it was designed for the Woonsocket Water Department based on our consumption, daily consumption. According to that chart, we're not in a, like a drought warning yet. We're just on a watch, if you will.
Okay.
Is it concerning? Is it worth watching? We monitor it daily, but we still have an abundance of raw water, and I'm reluctant to give too much information as far as how much water we still have and where it is. I think you know where it is, right?
Well, I guess any water supply has a capacity.
Right.
And our our system has a usage, daily average.
I'll tell you this, we've used about a third of our capacity.
We're using
We've
daily about
used-
a third of our capacity?
We've used about a third of our
Okay.
capacity.
All right, so I just wanted people to understand when the governor's talking,
Right.
not necessarily talking about our water supply.
No.
It's more of a general statement about,
We have approximately
supplies in general.
50% left of our main source, and we still have a secondary supply that's untouched
Yes,
and
okay.
full. So we're not in that situation yet. I mean, 3 weeks from now could be very different. But right now, the consumption, it's worthy of watching. And,
Okay, very good.
but that's it,
All right,
And
I'm
one
go-
thing I would note, in 64 years of life, nature always has a way of correcting itself. Usually when there's a drought, it's because there's going to be some flooding. So, and I've said many times in 8 years, this reservoir is never going to fill up again. And every spring, it spills over. So, and I don't think this,
Okay.
and if it makes you feel better, in 2020, we were approximately at the same point we are now in inches.
Very good. Thank you. I may as well stick with you, though, because my next is a list of items that are on the ARPA funding project, and I know I put LED streetlights in there, and it's simply to get a status on how far along we might be on installation of those lights.
We're at 70%.
Excellent. That's all I wanted to know. It's just, I knew they'd been working for some time, moving down every street one at a time, so good to know that. And then the rest of those are simply a question, because each one of these is something that we've talked about some time ago, and I just didn't know when each of them, whether it's the ice rink, the stage at World War II Park, the Oak Grove message board at the entry, the library security cameras, although I did communicate with the library director, and she said she's got the RFP to the city for the security camera upgrade. But let's start with the ice rink. Is there a time frame planned to do that, or get some bids?
Yeah,
or-
the ice rink is being worked on with the city engineer
Okay.
and the gentleman we hired to help us with our bids.
And is there a location certain, or is it something that's still open for discussion?
It's not definitive, but
I mean,
the thought was
put it where the pad is now,
maybe keep it where it is.
but it is a portable thing, right? It's just, when you have these artificial surfaces, you just lay them on a surface
Yeah,
and,
they have to but the installation takes time
Yes,
and
but-
precision, so the company would come in from
wherever.
whatever country they come from, I think it's like Switzerland or something, and they have to piece it together just
Okay.
just right.
It's like buying those laminate floors. The Oak Grove entry message board,
Yes, so the Oak Grove, that's not a message board, that's a
Oh.
sign to show that you are going into Oak Grove. So they have one now, it's pressure-treated wood, it's not in very good condition. We were, through the director's work, we were able to dig out the specs from the Cass Park sign, which we've received a lot of compliments on that sign, that stone sign to the entrance of Cass Park. And we were able to get the engineering work from that, and we're looking for a release on that so Jerry can get some pricing on it. It's a very classy sign incorporating stone and wood, so that's what we're looking at now. We've had a hard time getting a large piece of stone that would just be engraved and put there, so we're looking at keeping in line with the sign that is at Cass Park. So that's the sign we're leaning to right now.
all right. And the next one, how about the stage upgrade?
So the stage is, we waited a little, well, we've done a little work on that, but we've waited that out because we had actually put in for a grant for a stage, and we just learned last week that we are fortunate enough that we were one of the recipients, and we did receive a grant for $150,000. So I want to thank the team who worked on that, and in particular, Veronica, one of our employees here, who put a lot of time and effort into this. We received $150,000 of the amount that we requested, and that is to help with demo and rebuilding of the existing stage. So now that we know that part of that money, part of that stage will be paid for with that grant, we didn't want to get ahead of our skis, and sometimes with grants, you can't start the project before you receive the grant. So with Autumn Fest coming anyway, we wouldn't be starting to do anything to that stage. So we're going to continue to work on that, so when the spring comes, we can.
Is that a DEM grant?
That was a commerce grant.
Commerce. Okay. Now the last
The
two
city
are-
council. I was going to say the city council dais.
Yeah, the city council Dallas, and I know there was some work hoped for in the second floor conference room to put in
Yes, so
some
bid, that was
electronic.
bid 6069. That bid was awarded for just about $28,000. It's actually being manufactured, but the manufacturer indicated that because of supply chain issues that they don't expect to have it completed until January of 2023.
Okay, and anybody, maybe, I don't even know if it's Mike O'Connell, is this technology on the second floor?
Yes.
Second floor conference room? And is that something that he's working on, some specifications for camera
Yeah,
locations? and
so what
sound?
we're doing is we're upgrading some of the equipment that's here, so that we have a great production when Mr. Jacobs and his lovely wife are here, but we're trying to upgrade what is here in this room for meetings when they're not available, and we can stream it live with a little bit higher quality than what we currently have. And he said some of the equipment, like this switchboard and some other incidental pieces that were put in here, can be moved downstairs because of being a smaller room. This equipment will function better down there. So the idea was to get everything updated here and then move this downstairs.
And would that include mounted cameras downstairs?
Yes.
To complement the, or to replace the floating camera that we had before?
Yeah, that floating camera was a trial thing.
Send it to Stop and Shop, it'll make a good robot.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next
Councilman
item.
Ward?
Yes.
Just because you have another item on there, just because it's there and maybe the public wants to know. That's the library security cameras. So Mr. Moynihan indicated that he received the product specs from Director Page on August 10th, and that he has determined that the state has an MPA for these services, and he's going to contact 3 of them
Excellent.
for site visits and pricing.
Excellent, thank you. Wonderful. My next item has to do with public safety. Director, I sent an email, and it was an observation made to me by a resident of the area in Oak Grove, where the road comes out of Cumberland onto Route 99 and proceeds onto, what's the street? Olive? And his complaint was that people use it as a bypass, and I think that diminished when COVID came and there was nobody working in the CVS offices. But people actually come out of Cumberland and down 2nd Avenue, I think it's called, and then they turn and come through Woonsocket and race down our street to get to the light in order to avoid the traffic backup at Route 99. And he was concerned that children play in the area. There should be some speed limitation placed, signage. And I just wondered if somebody has had a chance to look at that and consider whether we need signage there to warn people that they're entering a residential area, that there's children that could be playing, and put some sort of speed controls in there.
Yes, just on that, so in 21, there was a traffic study done there, similar complaint. There was 256 cars in that time period, and there were no violations. Again, it was 2021, so maybe it was part of maybe a lack of vehicles because of COVID or what have you, or people working remotely. But we also have the speed sign up there now as we speak. So we haven't really finished that study yet, but once we do, I will make a recommendation as far as signage. We do have plenty of stop signs on that street. Every intersection is a stop sign, so that's good. I like that. So we can get some speeding signs and go slow, children playing, what have you, and kind of fix that up.
Okay, it's just one of those things, because I didn't realize it was such a shortcut to get around the traffic backup, but once I wrote it, I realized exactly what's going on, and if they start moving back into those offices, it could present a bit of a mess again if people start racing through there, trying to get around the traffic.
And truthfully, I didn't realize that either. Thank you.
Thank you. Director, bid activity reports, haven't seen one in a while, so I just thought I'd ask and see if, and I know the last time we got one, you had included all of the backup documentation on the bids that were awarded, and I just wondered when we might see another one.
I'll get one out to you
Okay.
in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
22P31, request of President Gendron to address the following items. 1, stipend and healthcare audit.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I was prepared to make a few statements regarding the stipend and health care audit, but I have been advised to have no discussion at this meeting regarding that audit, so I will skip and pass on number 1. Number 2, the fiscal year 23 tax bills.
The bills are at the printer. I'm expecting to receive samples tomorrow, and then they have to go to Lockbox for testing. So I'm estimating they'll be mailed midweek next week, maybe the beginning to middle of the week. But I can keep you updated.
And I think it's important, and thank you. I would ask that you keep us updated, but I think that maybe if we could put out a press release, just letting people know, because there's going to be 2 categories of people. There are the people that have been calling me and saying, where's my tax bill, because they're prepared and want to pay the tax bill. But I'm afraid that there's going to be some other people who have forgotten that there's a tax bill that's normally due in July, and probably won't be due until September, and then they're going to have another bill due in October, and it could really put some people in a dangerous spot if they're not prepared for it. So maybe another press release that would simply say, this is where we stand, and this is when the bills are expected to go out. I think it would be good for a public service announcement. Thank you. Along those lines, wastewater bills?
So the residential sewer bills look like they're going to be on time. I don't want to speak too soon, but they are also at the printer, but we needed to prioritize the tax bills. So their normal due date is September 15th, and right now I anticipate them to be, at that timeline.
So you're saying that the wastewater bills, last year's wastewater bill was up to and through June 15th?
So the residential sewer bills, you get one bill and it's 4 quarters. So
Right, so
the first-
aren't they normally out before September?
usually at the end of August.
Okay.
The due date's usually September. Well, is usually September 15th
Okay,
if they're out on time.
very good.
First quarter.
Council
Thank you.
President, just
Mayor?
for comparison, last year, the sewer bills were sent August 23rd. So
Yeah, and I
we're
thought that
actually-
they were
we're
late
actually- No,
last year.
no.
What it was the previous year?
Well, that I don't know, but I know that, I'm looking, says that, this is from the employee, this information. The sewer rates are staying the same as they have been for the last 5 years. If all goes smoothly, the residential roll is set to be mailed out a few days early earlier this year than last year, which
Okay.
was August 23rd.
Okay, thank you. Next item, Director DeBrois, it's regarding the lead water service replacement.
Director DeBruce.
Oh, it's you? Okay. How are the application, I'm sorry, Director, I didn't realize it was for you. How are the
Overwhelm them.
Huh?
I don't want to overwhelm them.
No, no, no.
But no, we're going to put together a comprehensive, how can I say, proposal, like to apply for
Application?
application. Thank you. Yeah.
So have you had much response to, has anyone inquired or?
Yeah, there's been some inquiries, but nothing formal yet.
So, and nothing that, you haven't been overwhelmed with applicants at this point?
No,
Okay.
no. Excuse me? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. When the city has a, running list of people that have lead services to their home,
Right.
we'll reach out to them when they can apply,
Yeah, okay.
okay? So just, it won't fall through the cracks.
No, I just know that there was, and I had spoken to you about two of them specifically, that had been aware of this, that it might be coming, and they wanted to make sure that they were at least considered. And I didn't know what the status was, if people
Yeah.
were already lining up, and if they weren't one of the ones, I think the fact
Because-
that they were in so early should be included.
Because the infrastructure bank's involved, I'm going to probably have a local engineering firm put together like a proposal for an application or whatever.
Good.
Just to make sure it's professional, legal, and all the boxes are checked.
Can you let the council know when that application is formalized so that we can, I know I've had a few phone calls from people who want to get their names in, and I'd like to be able to tell them when that can start and when the process is ready for them to start hounding you.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there'll be a press release, so.
I'm sure there will be.
Oh, you bet there will.
Yes.
Actually, they can call. If they want to call to give their name, they can,
Call Jen Patasic.
they can call Jen Patasic at
Not Jen
767.
Massey
No, Jen Patasic
at the Water Department.
at 767-1411. So
Very good.
anybody wants to call, they can put their name on the list.
Okay. That is it for what I had included. I would like to ask for my council's indulgence to I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-6B for discussion purposes only Ordinance 22038.
Make that motion.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Canoia,
Second?
seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So 22038 is relating to the Gaston A. Ayotte Senior Citizen Center and the lease agreement for that property. Solicitor, has that lease been executed at this point?
No, I actually gave it to the mayor a while ago, but it hasn't been executed as of right now.
I sent it back to the solicitor to ask him to sign off on it. There's a stamp that he uses to sign off that he's read it. So once that happens, it can come up. I did talk to Director Plays the other day. I asked her if she wanted to just sign it, she could send it down. I was in the middle of something. So if that's not signed, then I'll be happy to sign it, as long
Okay.
as it's stamped that it's been read and approved for accuracy.
All right, so you can sign it tomorrow and, okay.
Sign it tonight.
Excellent, thank you. That's it. I have nothing else, so we will move on to new business, Madam Clerk.
22042, granting a petition for a pole relocation for Verizon on Vernon Street.
Motion approved.
Motion made by Councilman Canoia,
Second?
seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Comments?
Council President, just a quick question.
Councilman Canoia.
Director, I know you said the engineering department looked at this and all. This kind of brings the pole a little bit closer to the corner, and no issues with truck traffic or anything making the turn? Okay, good, thanks.
Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22042 is approved. First passage, 7-0.
22043, transferring funds from Public Service Division to Department of Human Services.
Motion approved, Jim.
Motion made by Councilman Canoyer, seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments?
Council President, I'd
Councilman
I'd like
Canoyer.
to make an amendment, just to change the account number. Chris, thanks. Where it says from Public Service Division, the last 5 digits should be, instead of 52233, it should be 52231. And this is transferring $15,000 to the Human Services Department to be then sent to the Woonsocket Warriors. And we had this originally in CDBG, but rather than using the CDBG funds, we'll go out of the general fund, and then they can use the $15,000 that was earmarked within CDBG for parks or something else. They can reallocate it. I can't imagine it's a substantial amendment, so that's what this is. Thank you.
For a motion to amend made by Councilman Canoyer,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Gillette. On the amendment, comments? Hearing none, roll call on the amendment, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22043 is amended, 7-0. On the main motion as amended, comments? I'd like to offer an amendment, if I could. On the original request of the Woonsocket Warriors was for $20,000, and they were actually, that amount was reduced to $15,000, and I've had the opportunity to see some of what they do and the number of athletes that are active in that group. It totals close to 300 people, 300 of our athletes, young athletes. So I would like to offer an amendment to increase the amount of the transfer from the $15,000 as presented to the $20,000 that was originally requested in the CDBG grant. So I'll offer that as an amendment.
Second.
Motion made by the chair, seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez and Councilman Canoyer. On the amendment, comments?
Councilman?
Mayor.
Hi. I think that's a great idea. This organization, like you said, services so many children, the volunteers that are there. Some of them do not even have children within that organization, and they're volunteering their time. I think, personally, I think a lot of the paperwork and detail of the paperwork for receiving federal funds gets to be overwhelming for some folks, and this is probably an easier path. I'm not sure what account number that is that you're taking it from, but if you want also, because I'm not sure where it's coming from, but there's also the opportunity to use it, to use ARPA for it as well. So whatever account you have, I don't even know which one it is, but
Okay.
just in case you wanted to use the ARPA.
Very good. So any other comments on the amendment? Here, roll call, Madam Clerk, on the amendment now.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22043 is amended, 7-0. On the main motion as amended, comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22043 is approved unanimously, 7-0, as amended.
22044, authorization to sell the property located at 419 North Main Street, also known as Plat 20, Lot 129, Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
Motion to pass.
Motion made by Councilman Gillette, seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments? Just one question, Solicitor. At the last time this was before us, there was a problem with the LLC and the purchasing entity. They all coordinated now and everything's back?
Yeah, the LLC is back in good standing.
And this is the LLC that would be purchasing?
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22044 is approved, 7-0, first passage.
22045, an ordinance to transfer $500,000 of budgeted opera funding from road reconstruction of Rock Ridge, Wood, and Winter Streets to sidewalk repair.
Motion to approve? Motion made by Councilwoman Sierra, seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron.
Yes, and 22045 is approved, 7-0.
2224, with an option for the city to renew through June 30th, 2025, with Edward Dutch Uniform, Inc. for police clothing and equipment.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Councilwoman
Second.
Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R101 is approved, 7-0.
22R102, authorizing cancellation of certain taxes.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Ward, seconded by Councilman Canoyer. Comments?
Council President,
Councilman Ward.
for the public's information, this is a single item for an abatement of $750.08. Two items, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R102 is approved, 7-0.
22R103, granting permission to use city property.
Motion to pass.
Motion made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Gillette. Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R103 is approved, 7-0.
22R104, granting permission to use city property.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R104 is approved, 7-0.
22R106, authorizing the Director of Public Works to sell gravel and fill from Cats Park for recreation complex.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilman Susie. Comments? Hearing none, roll call on this, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
No.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
No.
President Gendron.
No. And 22R106 is approved, 4-3.
22R107, authorizing the mayor to purchase the property located at 366 Cumberland Hill Road, Woonsocket, Rhode Island, also known as Assessors Plat 10, Lot 10, Plat 40, Lot 12.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Canoyer. Comments?
Council President,
Councilman Canoyer.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the $850,000 to $800,000 as agreed previously in our work sessions.
Motion made by Councilman Canoyer,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Ward, to amend 22R107. Comments on the amendment?
Mr. President,
Councilman Susie.
we all know where we were before, so
Yeah.
I think this 850 is a done deal for the city of Woonsocket, for the citizens, to get this done, put it behind us. We're getting $300,000 of grant monies to go against this price. We had agreed as a council in a workshop for 850 at one time. It went back down to 800. I know they wanted more, but we're at 850 again, and we can get this thing done again, not for ourselves, but for the city, to get this piece of this project done. And I'd hate to see it delay again. I know that many of us think that this 850 is probably is a good price for what, again, especially in consideration of the grants that we're going to have. And I'd hate to see arguments that just delay this further. I'm just ready to go. I'm personally, tired of talking about it. So I will not vote for the 800.
Okay, any other comments?
Council President, can I make a comment on the initial resolution?
Yes.
Not on the amendment?
Yeah, well, let's do the amendment,
Amendment
and
first?
then, yes, absolutely.
Council President?
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
I also concur with Councilman Susie. We had 850 was a number that we had looked at and we had agreed upon. And this has been going back and forth, and we've asked the seller quite a few times to lower the asking price, and they've come this far, and I think since we've already said that would be a doable number, I don't see why we wouldn't go forward with it.
Council President?
Councilman Ward.
I see why we wouldn't, because we were adamant that 800,000 was the cap. This is a property that has an appraised value of less than $700,000 on a full value appraisal. Sorry, Chuck. This is a property that has a value of less than $700,000 on a full value appraisal, and so it was a stretch, and I was fairly adamant that I had no interest in, I had no interest in even going to 800,000 because it's not valued at even that much. So I could never support going 850 if I can only barely support going to 800, because I think even that's too much for a property where the appraised value is so much lower, that we have other ways we could acquire the property and not have to pay $850,000. That's all.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Council President?
Councilman Canoia.
Yeah, I concur with the Vice President. We have an appraisal of 625, which, as we discussed, is overstated because of the errors it had in it. There's 2 encumbrances on the property. They only took into account 1, and they made a comparison to a property that was incorrectly listed as passive recreation. So the appraisal of 625 is actually overstated. So at 850, we're paying 136%. We're paying a 36% premium. And just 2 weeks ago, I was told we had to veto a budget because we were increasing the levy by less than 1%, and people are hurting, et cetera, et cetera. So I think we need to be prudent, and I know we agreed to 800,000 unanimously, and I'll stick with that. So,
Thank you. Any other comments?
Council
Hearing
President?
none, I'll
Council
take a-
President?
Oh, Mayor?
Yeah. Are you all, is everyone all set?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I just, for the public to know, because this has nothing to do with what the city tax rate is, the funding for the acquisition of this property would come from a $312,500 grant that we were awarded from DEM, and the balance is an allowable expense from ARPA funds. So this would not be utilizing any tax revenue that came in from the constituency and the taxpayers of the city. I think Councilman Gillette was right when he had originally said that the magic number was 900, which was what the gentleman was at. And then he did come down an additional $50. When you talk about value of land, if Councilman Canoia is looking to put a pool in his backyard and he cannot get the equipment into the backyard to get the pool installed, and in his backyard there is a piece of land that's owned by his neighbor, and that small strip of land would allow the equipment to get into his backyard so he can put the pool in, that land on paper may only be valued at $7,000, but to Councilman Canoia, he wants his pool, or anybody wants their pool for that matter, so that strip of land becomes more valuable to you, and you're willing to pay the person who owns that land more than the $7,000 value that is attached to that property. And that's the case with this particular piece of land. We have funding available to build an athletic recreational complex. That recreational complex will serve not only the athletes who attend our schools, but it will also serve all the residents of the city, allowing them to utilize the new track, the fields, the recreational space, and it will also be open to the public, so you can take family members there or friends from outside of the city. This is the last piece of the puzzle, which allows us to have a second access into the property for, well, there are two already, but this is the key. This is the largest. This creates the parking that allows us to bring our athletic fields to the side of our high school and to the side of our vocational school. I remember, I think back in 2013, the state did a survey of what schools had athletic complex, or at least some athletic fields on the side of their schools, and I believe at that time, Woonsocket was the only one that did not. other than schools that shared fields because they had multiple high schools. And here we sit today, 9 years later, still the only school, I believe it was us and Central Falls, and now Central Falls has built fields for their students and for their constituents and residents. So the value of the land isn't always based on what an appraisal is. You may have gotten your new values in through the reval company, and if I would suggest that you take a look at that, and you may not want to sell your house for what it's valued at. You may think your house is worth more. So this particular family has been very respectful and very understanding of what we're trying to do. They've come down significantly, as Councilwoman Gonzalez and Councilman Susi stated, and for a difference of $50,000, and that $50,000 is not coming from the tax revenue that we receive from you folks. This will allow us to begin to move forward and build this recreational complex that I think is extremely important. Not sure if any of you get the Woonsocket call. I'm sure some of you do. You probably saw the front page of the sports section that showed that we have a world champion right here in our city. And I would like to congratulate him and congratulate his entire team and coach. And we have a lot of other students who attend our schools who don't necessarily have the ability for their parents to leave work, or maybe they don't have dual parent role at home, so they don't have the ability to get to Barry Field. And having our athletic fields on the side of the school is extremely important. And the softball coach can attest to the difference that it has made in the girls' softball program for the high school. Thank you.
Thank you. On the amendment to 22R107, comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk, on the amendment.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
No.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susi?
No.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22-107 is amended 5-2. On the main motion as amended, comments? Councilwoman
President.
Sierra.
Thank you so much. I actually don't agree with purchasing this property at all, as my peers up here know, and as well as the administration. I don't agree with it for a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, we have an easement, which would allow people who want to utilize the facility to travel back and forth or in and out of that area. What the purchase of this property does is create more parking. And I think the biggest question to me is, for myself, is why wasn't that a consideration when the plans were originally drawn? Like, this property just came on the market, we're buying it saying we need additional parking. But the parking should have been part of the whole master plan for Cass Park in the first place. That's the first thing. Secondly, I never agree with taking a commercial piece of property off the market and turning it into a non-paying tax entity, which is what we will do. We will have to pay to knock the building down. We're never going to get any property taxes. We're never going to get any tangible taxes. We're never going to create jobs again in that particular building, nor will we collect a $1,000 liquor licensing fee, nor will we have a viable business for our citizens to go to, whether it's a restaurant or whatever it is. I just don't agree with this purchase at all, so I will not be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk, on the main motion as amended.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
No.
Councilman Susi?
No.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22R107 is approved 5-2 as amended.
22R109, authorizing the finance director to sign and enter into an agreement with the Rhode Island Department of Human Services for low-income household water assistance program.
Motion approved?
Motion made by Councilman Susi,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R 109 is approved, 7-0.
Council President, if there's no further business before this body, I make a motion.
Mr. President,
Councilman Gillette?
I'd like to have a reconsider my vote on 22R106.
Solicitor, how do we just,
Did he vote, did you vote in the affirmative?
Yes.
Yeah, then he could make a motion to reconsider. You
We
were
have
on
a
the prevailing
motion-
side. You were on the prevailing side.
Yes.
You could make a motion to reconsider.
so a motion made by Councilman Gillette to reconsider 22R 106.
So actually, the motion is to bring the piece of legislation back to the council.
Okay. So a motion made by Councilman Gillette to bring 22R 106 back to the council floor.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Canoyer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R 106 is before us once again.
Council President,
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
sorry, I also would like to reconsider my vote on,
Well, we got around 22-106. We'll go to,
Yep.
we'll go to that one next. So that being said, any comments on 22R 106?
The piece of legislation is before you.
Yes. Councilman Gillette.
Mr. President, after I voted, I started thinking, I don't know what you have planned. We haven't talked about what you have planned. I haven't seen anything anyway, and I don't remember us talking about it. My question is, we're not going to make the amount of money that you had first with that first plan, because we're going to be doing the work ourselves now. Right? We're going to be doing the work ourselves in order to sell it?
Well, yeah, I mean, the last plan I put before you all was for the city to hire a vendor, our vendor, where we would, clear the property of all subsoil, whatever, get it down to gravel. We would load the gravel ourselves onto vendors who want it, want to buy it, okay? And, we would essentially sell it to them, yeah.
And which would reduce our profitability?
No, how would it reduce?
Well, because we're going to be doing the work, so you have to minus the cost factor.
Yeah, but you can also raise the cost of the material, so,
And you think we're going to be able to do that?
I don't think, I know. The way it was presented previously is we just put it out to bid for company X, Y, or Z to come in, cut the trees, strip the loam, load the gravel, whatever. So they could have essentially bid, say, $3 a yard for gravel, whatever. So say there's 500,000 yards of gravel there, that's $1.5 million. Okay? But then again, we wouldn't have to do anything. Our hands are just washed, and we just say, take the material. You do it this way, where we do the work. When I say we, a vendor that the city would hire. So, and I said the cost estimate, I think the Councilman Canoyer or Gendron, that it would cost us around $200,000, $250,000, something like that, for the vendor to come in, strip all the loam, subsoil, and load the gravel. But if we charge, let's just say for discussion purposes, $6 or $8 a yard for 500,000 yards, that's $3 million. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so minus the 250, you're still ahead, right? So you're ahead money-wise, right? It's just more work for me, really. So the other way, I just wanted a company to come in and do everything, and we wouldn't have any really liability or responsibility.
Okay, so you have a vendor, I assume, that you can count on to do this?
I brought some vendors before the council at a workshop, I want to say a few months back, and they said...
Maybe I wasn't at that
You
workshop.
were here, right?
Exactly what, I don't recall exactly the specifics, but I do recall having a workshop.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, well, the council, you guys were
Yeah.
here, right? Yes, no?
I think it was at a meeting.
So did you not hear the company X, Y, and Z said that they would purchase the gravel?
Yeah.
You had 3 people here, yeah. Three companies that said they could have interest in gravel, not knowing exactly what they would end up with.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then at that point, I think there was going to be a workshop or whatever. And so that's where we are.
I'm sorry. Are you done, Roger?
I'm done.
Council President?
I don't know
Councilman
why
Canoia.
I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm not,
Well, that's, it's up to you, really.
Council President?
Councilman Canoia.
So the Director is correct. We had a work session where 3 companies that do business in gravel came and indicated that they would have an interest in purchasing the gravel. But frankly, we had a second meeting where there was a presentation at a regular meeting, and we said we're going to have a work session, but then this happens sometimes. You guys went on the radio and said, my way or the highway. So we never had the work session. So I am not comfortable, Director, no offense, and it's almost protecting you, having us sell gravel, which is like selling real property, at a quote price to be determined by you, because you'll get second guessed till the cows come home. I think we need to do some form of an RFP. I know we did an RFP previously, and we didn't get any offers, and the way it was structured, I get it. And I thought the plan was you're going to restructure that and come up with a different plan about doing an RFP. But I'm not at all comfortable having an open-ended with no, I appreciate people saying they're going to do something, but that's a lot different than having an RFP, number one. Number two, and I said, I want to have a work session to discuss further. I'm still scratching my head trying to understand why we have to tear the park apart, take the gravel out, get rid of all that area, when we could just go and stick to the original 2017 master plan for the park that was approved by the planning board, which was to just resurface the existing park, the existing track, put in the stands, put in lights, put in synthetic field, et cetera. And we had a discussion previously. There was some comments on the radio that our track is not the same size as North Smithfield, but we resolved that. It's exactly the same size, and we can do exactly what North Smithfield has on our track. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to get rid of all those old growth trees, get rid of the slope, which frankly is a barrier from the sewage treatment plant, getting rid of all that greenery. So, I'm happy to table and have a further discussion to get a better, clearer understanding of what the plan is, but I'm still trying to figure out why we're not doing what was agreed to in the master plan originally, and why we want to turn it. I know there's value in the gravel, there's no doubt about it. We could sell gravel over at the reservoir too, but so that's why I had the no vote. If someone wants to table it and have a further discussion, I'm happy to do that, but if business wants to be conducted on the radio instead, then it is what it is. So I'm a no vote. Having an open-ended thing like that is just, the amount of money at stake, I just don't think that's the way to go.
Mr. President? Mr. President?
Solicitor.
Yeah, I haven't had an opportunity to talk to the director about this particular resolution. I would recommend that the council table this so that the director and I could have a conversation in terms of the price structure of the gravel that he would actually sell. So that would be my recommendation. I just didn't have an opportunity to talk to Steve about it, but I'll talk to him tomorrow about it.
Okay.
I think you should table it.
Can I make
I'll
that
tell
motion,
Steve
Mr. President?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to table.
Councilman
for
Susi.
one shot. Yeah.
Second.
If I may,
Seconded by Councilman Canoia to table 22R 106. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No on the tabling?
Yeah. He wanted to say something.
Councilman Ward wanted to speak.
I think
and
Councilman Ward wanted to speak on
Nobody looked in that direction.
Well, I had a motion and a second. So
Yeah,
I
no, I'm
don't,
not-
can I act on a motion when I
Don't
have a
worry
motion?
about
and
it.
a s-
I'll get around to asking my questions. You can be rest assured.
A workshop, yeah.
Solicitor, when I have a motion to table in a second, can I
You're going to
continue
motion to
to?
table in a second.
Non-discussable.
Okay,
It's not discussionable. I think
Non-debatable.
what Councilman Ward was trying to get your attention, I think that's probably what happened,
right,
if I'm not mistaken. But
okay. Roll call vote on the,
already did,
oh, no, yeah, it's tabled on a 6-1 vote. Councilwoman,
Yes.
there was an item you wanted to,
Reconsider on 22R107.
22R107. Motion to reconsider made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Canoyer to reconsider
My-
22R107. All those in favor?
One question. Councilwoman, I assume you were in the prevailing side? You were on the prevailing side on this?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R107 is before us again. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes, I just, we were voting, and I quickly said yes, and I really meant to say no. I'm sticking to the 850. I think it's a really important property for us to obtain, and with having sat through the different negotiations, I just think it's a fair price, and I vote no.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, let's do another roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
No.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra? No. Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman
I'm
Ward?
confused. Yeah, I know, I got you.
Councilman President,
Councilman Ward?
No, I'm a no. I'm a no, excuse me, I'm a no. I'm sorry, Mr. President, I was confused, so I'm a no.
No.
Yeah, I'm a no.
okay. And, Madam Clerk?
President Gendron?
Yes. So 22R107 is approved 4-3 as amended.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Councilman Ward, seconded by Councilman Canoyer to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and we are adjourned at 9:07.